Ah, Christmas, the coziest time of the year, which means I am honor bound to deliver unto you a quality recommendation that you might watch as you hide away from relatives who just don't get it. Christmas was actually a few days ago? You're late? Alright, first of all, so were the three wise men. Secondly, Christmas doesn't end until the baptism of our Lord, so you're not just wrong, you're going to hell. December is the darkest month of the year. The days get shorter and the world grows colder, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, but to be honest with you, I'm not convinced any country outside of America actually exists. The point I am making is that sometimes things can look pretty bad, and it can be hard to find joy or hope or a simple reason to continue going on when you're surrounded by nothing but darkness and doubt. But as long as you believe in a better tomorrow, as long as you can stick it out and keep moving forward, you will find something that lights up this dark world. Girls' Last Tour is quite the experience. It's a short show from 2017, which is why the main characters dab in the opening, that follows two potatoes, Cheeto and Yuri, as they go on a little adventure across the world, or at least what's left of it. Human life is all but extinct. There are a few stragglers who linger in the ruins of once great cities, as well as the occasional robot and like a fish or two, but these girls often go months without seeing any sign of life on their travels towards the top of the world. They are, more or less, all alone. But amidst the broken landscape, there's always a tower leading to a new level, and what's on that new level is always the same: nothing. This somber setup sounds, really bleak. However, the show itself is far from nihilistic. It's kind of a bait and switch. How many anime employ a cutesy art style and a cast of little girls to lower your guard and break your spirit? I can think of quite a few, but somehow the one that takes place after the world ends is surprisingly lighthearted and soothing, even. There are still plenty of tense scenes and an ever-looming threat of dying from starvation or exposure or poor decision-making, but at its core, Girls' Last Tour is a show about cute girls doing cute things. It's just that this time, there's some meaning to the moe. Alright, technically there's always some meaning to the moe. It's about maximizing cuteness to calm your inner gamer so you don't crash out after working the cringe 9 to 5 and do something noteworthy. I just mean that most of these cute girls doing cute things shows don't have much going on besides cute girl. Now, I don't want to counter-signal these shows too much because I really don't even think they're bad, they're just not for me. And one of the reasons that they aren't for me is usually that I don't like the girls. I recognize that they are trying to be cute, but I tend to find them very annoying. Another thing that bothers me is that the setting is pretty much always the same or very similar. Bowling for Soup put it best. But both of these issues are not present at all in this anime. Chester Cheeto and Yuri are a great pair of conflicting personalities. Cheeto is the more level-headed one and the one in charge of planning the route and managing the supplies and driving the motorcycle truck thing and, pretty much everything, to be honest. Yuri, on the other hand, is just there, kind of vibing, living her best life. Although she does protect her friend with her trustworthy firearm, until she gets hungry. This could have all been avoided if either of them had heard about this video's sponsor. That's right, this video is sponsored by Sakurako and Tokyo Treat. I like stuff from Japan, and I'm guessing that you do too since, you're here. I'm also guessing here is in Japan, which is why Tokyo Treat will send you a box filled with a bunch of scrumptious snacks and tasty treats straight to your door. Tokyo Treat is a fun and exclusive Japanese snack box containing all different types of unique full-size snacks. Each box follows a theme which changes every month. This is the box for January, and the theme is New Year's treatings. New Year's in Japan is all about fresh starts, eating well, and getting a little good luck on your side. And what better way is there to get lucky than to eat some Kit Kats? Because, in Japanese it sounds like you will surely win. That's why Japan gets a bunch of other flavors you don't see elsewhere. And one of those flavors is strawberry chocolate cake. As expected, it's very tasty. Now, if you want more good luck, then you are in luck because this is the Lucky New Year's Arare, the rice cracker shaped like a fish called a sea bream, which apparently is associated with good luck. And speaking of fish, we have the Good Luck Taiyaki. The best thing these snack boxes ever did was introduce me to taiyaki. And this one might just be my favorite one yet. It's got an airy chocolate inside, so it just melts in your mouth after you take a bite. It's really good, as is the other stuff in the box, which includes but is not limited to Daruma Peach Gummies, eggs, Hokkaido smoked butter chips, golden kinako mochi, corn pottage puffs, some seafood and vegetable dashi ramen, and matcha olay. I think that's how you say that. I don't speak French. It's a dying language. Also included in the box is a booklet which has all the descriptions of the various food items, along with some cultural insight on stuff relating to the theme of the month. This time it's fortunes and charms and an overview of some important holidays for the coming year. You can sign up for a subscription for this snack box by clicking the link in the description and using my code. It'll get you $5 off. This does help the channel out, and I wouldn't have taken this sponsorship if I didn't actually like these snack boxes. And now back to the video. As for the setting, it's very intriguing. It's technically far off into the future, but it's filled with a smorgasbord of novelties that span several different eras. The biggest influence is probably World War II, which you can see with certain clothing, weapons, and vehicles, but it's mixed in there with modern guns, futuristic robots, and odd religious iconography. On the one hand, this makes it kind of difficult to pin down what exactly is going on in this world, but on the other hand, this makes you very curious about the world. What else is out there? Who made some of this stuff, and how many times did this world end exactly? I also believe the mismatch of aesthetics serves a thematic purpose. It's like the whole history of humanity is on display, past, present, and future. The year this anime takes place in doesn't really matter because people will always be people. Now, I mentioned Girls Last Tour is a lighthearted, fun adventure, but that's not to say it doesn't have anything to say. Frequently, the two main leads will fumble their way into a humorous, but still philosophical debate about choice topics for the episode. These can range from the purpose of being buried with certain objects to the meaning of life itself. These topics could easily become morbid, but the characters never get hung up on existential dread. They just talk things out, joke around for a bit, and call it a day, and then continue on their journey. Rinse and repeat, that is the show. If you're worried about pretentious preaching and heavy-handed messaging, don't be. That's not here. Sure, there's the standard war is bad message, but the show never acts like it's smarter than what it is. And that's not me calling the show dumb. It's not. It is very thought-provoking because it doesn't shove all the answers down your throat. It gives you the question, a little bit to work with, and then lets you do the rest. I really like that kind of thing, but I know it's not for everyone. Another thing that's not going to be for everyone is the visuals. Now, I've said this before, but I'm not much of a moe guy. I mean, I'm fine with a little bit of moe in my anime, but I still prefer it if my characters had a nose. However, I never really took an issue with that aspect of this anime. I think it's because the dough-faced, beanbag head-having, charming young women perfectly contrast the cruel winter wasteland. Their designs diffuse any depression that could confuse the main theme of this show. Sure, they could have been drawn more realistically, but this way, the blissful feelings of the characters shine all the brighter. Plus, their dumb faces bring me joy. I think the real issue with the visuals is that they're kinda on the cheap side. There's a fair amount of CGI, and I'm not one to call a show abysmal just for having the stuff for a handful of scenes, but I still wish it wasn't there. Now, I look at CGI like a promise that there will be something great looking at some point. If you show me a bad CG crowd, then I'm expecting something detailed later on. You know, I always use ReZero for this example, and coincidentally, Girls Last Tour was animated by the same studio that did ReZero. However, I don't think any sequences in this show look as good as the best sequences from that one. But now, to be fair, I also don't think any of the sequences in this show look as bad as the worst sequences in that show, so I guess it cancels out. Outside of a handful of scenes, the show is pretty consistently good, but not great. Lots of panning shots of the same gray ruined buildings and two girls trucking along in the snow, that kind of thing. As for the music, it's pretty decent all around, but not really something I'd listen to over other anime OSTs. Don't get me wrong, it fits the show well, but it's largely inoffensive and usually kept to the background. Although there are a few tracks with some German vocals, I think, that are more pronounced, and they give an almost fairy tale feel to the show. I've seen some people call this anime boring, and I think that it could be if you're expecting fallout from the plot synopsis. If anything though, Girls Last Tour is closer to something like Angel's Egg, but that one's a bit more artsy and much less comedic and cozy. But they both include a bunch of hidden details and ambiguous events that you are free to craft extensive theories about. The big difference might be that the main character of Angel's Egg was not content with his lot in life and actively sought out answers. Whereas in Girls Last Tour, both of the main characters are pretty content. They aren't trying to save the world or fix the problems that caused the apocalypse, they're just living life, finding meaning in a meaningless world, doing things not solely for the sake of survival, but for the sake of sanity, giving credence to the idea that it's not the destination that matters, it's the journey. And if this is to be the last journey on Earth, then they may as well make it a fun one. And if you're curious about this journey's destination, then you're gonna have to read the manga. Yeah, the way I said that almost makes it sound like a chore. You should read the manga, because the anime never really finished. It covers 4 of the 6 volumes, and while the anime ending is perfectly fine, the last volume of the manga is it's just amazing. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll leave it at that. The anime is pretty one-to-one with the manga, so if you do finish the show and want more, then you can just jump straight into the last 2 volumes, no problem. I know this isn't a true Christmas anime, but look, I already talked about my favorite one, so I've decided this one counts. There's a lot of snow, okay? That's gotta count for something. Plus, the motorcycle tank thing is like a modern take on the one-horse open sleigh, and the girls wearing helmets and wielding weapons is clearly a commentary on the war on Christmas. Much to think about. Anyway, until next time, Ave Maria, Deus Vult, and a big thank you to all the cultured.